Hello, I just want to share with you a quick lesson on something that helps your reading and technique become way more efficient. It's called chunking. So chunking is where you see the chord shapes and you put those chord shapes down, you block the notes together with the left hand first at the start of the bar or the start of the chord shape, and then you play the music. And usually you won't have to change much with the left hand. In this case, for this bar here, we just have to add the fourth finger and lift it. Same for the next bar, we chunk the chord shape first. The next bar, chunk, add, lift, chunk, add, lift. In notation, it helps to write the fingerings in vertically. For the start here, I've written in the fingerings at the start of the measure, 2, 3, 1. So if I was going to do the same for this chord, well, if the fingerings aren't there, we need to add them in. So I'll use the third finger. There is tablature in this version. I'll talk about tablature in a second. But we're using the third finger for the G, the second finger for the B, the first finger for the D. So, and then for this passage here, we're using 1 and then 3 and then 0. So the chord like that. And then for this one, it's mostly open strings, 2, 0, 0. So we get this kind of chunked version, which would sound like block chords, which would be that, and then that to that. If you know your harmony, you'll realize that's a D7 going to a G, and then that's a B7 going to an E minor, which is dominant, which is a 5 chord, going to a 1, and then another 5 chord going to a 1. 5, 1. So that's chunking with notation. Now, if you've got tablature, it shows up almost immediately. If you see notes in the tablature that are on successive strings like this, that's probably an opportunity to chunk those notes down, to hold them down at the start of the bar. Now here I've got the fingerings written horizontally, but you could write them in vertically, 2, 3, 1, and then you add the fourth finger on there. So we have 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and then we add the fourth finger. So that's a really good clue in the tablature that we can chunk. Another, spot here, look at this one. So at first reading, when you see something like that, you might just put the notes down, C, and then an E, and then a G, and then a C, E, like that. You might read them individually, one by one, but the tablature, this is kind of like a word search here. If the notes are all on successive strings, voila, you can put a line through that and say, I can put all of those fingers down, all of those notes down here, and then play whatever's written like that. So there's some chunking for you, and this technique can help you become much more efficient in reading and in your left hand technique.